You're listening to the Wool Academy podcast. This is episode number 50.
Hello and welcome. My name is Elisabeth van Delden, and once a week we talk to an industry expert from the wool industry supply chain from farm to fashion and beyond, delivering strategies and insights to be successful in wool and showcasing those beautiful stories wool has to tell.
Today's guest is Claudia Weiss de Machado from Uruguay. She is the owner of Montevideo, a wool company that has been a member of the wool industry in Uruguay for over 58 years. Claudia has also founded the wool fashion and accessory brand Don Baez Eco Chic 20 years ago. Welcome on to the show, Claudia. How are you today?
Hi, nice hearing and nice talking to you, Lisa. Lovely. I'm so happy to. We haven't. I'm so excited. It's lovely, absolutely great.
Yeah, and it's always a miracle that you can sit in. Are you in Montevideo right now in Uruguay?
Yes, exactly.
And I'm here in Bonn in Germany, and we can just have a little chat about wool. That's great.
Exactly, and we're fantastic, super opportunity. I'm very excited to get all these interesting wool people all over the world to be able to connect and be seeing whether we can do something exciting to make people excited about wool.
Yes. That's a good goal for today. Well, well, let's start by you telling us a little bit more about yourself and the work that you do in the wool industry.
Okay, I'll tell you, Lisa. When I grew up in Montevideo, and I went to the British school, and at the beginning, I wasn't sure really what I wanted to do, but my father, who had always been in the wool industry in Europe, he made it. When I studied at Sussex University. I'm an economist. When I graduated, I thought that one of the things that I really wanted to do is come back and work hard side by side, learn all about the wool industry. At that time, there were many wool exporters in Uruguay and all over the world as well. And imagine my first IWTO conference was I visited I was there when I was 18. That was my first one in Monte Carlo in Monaco.
Wow.
And since then I said, oh, wow, I want to be part of this. So I went to Sussex, I studied, I became an economist and came back to Uruguay. And the goal was really, at that time, I said, I want to be part of this. At that time, there were about maybe 30 companies in Uruguay. Everyone was doing different things. My father had always been very focused on scoured wool and on grey wool. So that was what he liked to do, and he was very good at, and everyone knew him for that. And he had come from Europe, where of course, especially inferior wools are used, are transformed, and they're always used. Nothing is thrown away in Europe. So he came back with all this knowledge and said, I want to use all the wools that other people disregard, which are, like the gray wools, and he made a lot of money with that. He was always very good at buying cheap wools, transforming them into great things. That's what other people didn't look at, and he was always good at that. And that's one of the things he learned that in Europe, obviously, where everything is recycled and everything is reused. So he taught me all this when I was young, and so that's really how Montelan started with making use of all these cheap wools, which other people didn't go for, and that was what made Montelan different to other companies. And so that's why I like all the gray wools, which can be made into beautiful things, and people just haven't realized that, So that's why I started Don Baez, because I wanted to use all that knowledge that I have with grey wools and put it into beautiful clothes, and because as I buy the wool, I scour it myself. I do all the process from the sheep all through to the little shop that we have. So, thanks to what my father taught me, I can do all this now.
That's an amazing story. And just to clarify, with gray wools, you mean wool that is like in color, not comes from sheep that have very white wool, but or like brown or
Yeah, there
different
are
colors.
sheep all colors, from white all the way to dark brown.
Okay, and
There are
they
very
were
fine, because we've been buying wool for so many years in Uruguay. I go to the farmers that have the wool that I need, the correct wool for what I need, and I buy not only merino, I buy all sorts of the Polworth, I buy different breeds, and I look for the finest wool and grey wools, and that's what and also for the lamb's wool, and I put all that together, I blend that together, and I do myself the yarn and everything and the whole thing.
and everything in Uruguay then.
Everything in Uruguay, which is another thing which, I'm so happy about, because I don't want to do what typically everyone does, go to China or wherever. No, I want to do everything on our premises. I have I don't do it myself, but I do it on commission in different companies in Uruguay. And I'm happy because I can also help Uruguay in a way, because we have fantastic workers here with all the knowledge, and people who don't have a job because, everyone is going to China to do everything. And they're losing their jobs. And there's so many people in the textile industry in Uruguay who are without a job. And we, in a way, we keep a little group in business. And so we do everything on commission, everything. We don't do it ourselves. I don't want to have my own company, my own factory. That's also something I learned from my father. He always said that it's wise to do things on commission, and then you can supervise and be very. You have to always look for the best quality, but do everything on commission if possible. Not own your own factories, because in this way you can put your effort into something else, Whereas if you had a factory, then it's a whole lot of many people, and you have to look after so many things. Working on commission makes it easier, especially now as a woman more. But so I those are the little advice that he gave me, my father.
I like that what you say, and that you learned so much from your father and
A
applying
lot.
that. Yeah.
I learned a lot. My father, his name was Fritz Weiss, and that's why everyone liked him so much. He was very generous, and always gave people advice and helped people, everyone. And so he was a really good coach. In the old days, we didn't have that word, but now I realize that what he did all the time was coaching people. Every time people came into the office and asked for what advice on anything, he would always give advice, So now he'd be the mentor
Yeah.
of the 20th century, anyway. And so what he told me was exactly this. And as I liked all this so much, that's why the brand Don Baez was the way they called him. Everyone, very fondly called my father Don, because in Uruguay, they call you Don when they have respect for you. And they couldn't pronounce Weiss, so they said Don Baez. And so that's the way I like the name for the brand.
Yeah. Okay, that explains where that name came from.
Yeah.
And what kind of products do you actually make then? Give us a little bit of an overview.
Well, we try to do everything that we can do ourselves with a good quality, and always with undyed, all this undyed fine wool. We started off with all the blankets and throws and everything that is for the bed, because I at the beginning I learned a lot from obviously I made many mistakes at the beginning, and some of the first products aren't as beautiful as I would have liked them to be, but that helps a lot. One learns a lot by making mistakes. And something I always kept in mind is to ask people what they thought of our products, and they kept on saying, this is okay, this isn't, and so that's how how we improved our quality. And then we went to one factory which had always made some very good woolen products, and I went to them, and I asked them to improve always the blankets and the throws, and then suddenly we started doing shawls, and with this I thought, why not make also textile, make
Woven and knitted materials.
right, exactly. So I said, why not? And so we came, so we made the textiles and came back, and my sister and I, at the beginning it was just my sister and I. She helped me a lot because she's an artist. She's a fantastic artist, and so she helped me a lot with the designs. And at the beginning it was only very simple things that we could handle and do ourselves, sort of thing, giving just small steps. And then and then about like 6 or 7 years ago, I took on designers, and we started to make beautiful collections, and with all sorts of, from coats to capes to all, different, whatever you can think of in wool, we make. For ladies, men, and even for children, we do something. We make ponchos that men, ladies, and the same poncho for children, for ladies, and for men, and all the, we try and do whatever comes into our minds, and people ask for us to make, because there are so few things in Uruguay. Woolen, there's nothing in Uruguay practically made out of wool. Nothing practically. I mean, that you can go into a shop and buy, except, and so that's why we really, I really feel that I'm doing something very useful for the country also.
And who would you describe then as your key target market? Is it mainly Uruguay, or do you also focus on other markets?
At the moment, I'm still focused in Uruguay, because Uruguay has grown quite a lot. There are many tourists who come. We have our little shop in a very touristy area with many hotels around us, and so we get many tourists, which is great for our product, because they're people who look for something made in wool. They come to us, so that's great. But yes, my website, we're working on our website and improving it, and I think that is very, that will be the next step. And this year, it for sure it will be perfect, and I'm going to I'm hoping very much to have be able to sell through through the website. That's my goal. Yes.
And then also
For
ship
sure.
internationally.
Of course, yes, we can do that easily. Except right now, the people, you see, I don't want to make mistakes. I want to go step by step. And so we've had people who've asked us for big, for big orders, but I, like Uruguay, in Uruguay, you can't accept a big order of certain things, because you'll definitely make, it won't go right. you know.
Yeah.
So I want to do what I can do well, and I don't want to. So I'm very careful about that. You know, I'm very very um, I'm very proud that whatever's made with the brand Don Baez will be, you know, good design. I want it to be something that you'll wear. I was so happy, Lisa, the other day someone came into the shop and said, I have one of your capes, which I wear practically daily for 10 years, and everyone looks at it and says, wow, it looks like you bought it yesterday. Yeah, you know, that's the sort of product that Don
Yeah.
Baez is. It's something that lasts you 10 years, and people look at it and like you've bought it yesterday. So that's something I want to keep in mind, and that's my goal. You know, I don't want to leave that standard, that high standard. So um, that for me is very important.
Yeah, and I think the last time we met in Harrogate, you also said that you kind of had this learning that you actually want to stay small. And that probably relates to what you just said right now, that you're not
Yes.
about, expanding dramatically, but just keeping it
No,
small,
I'm
but then high quality.
exactly. That's something I'm so happy about. If possible, I want to make something. I you know, also at a certain age, I suppose one thinks back and says, you know, it's great to work, and I'm happy about working, and I'm so, you know, I'm so passionate about what I do. But on the other hand, I like to also enjoy life. Something also that my father taught me. My father started the day playing golf. This is every day of his life that I worked with him. He always played 9 holes of, you know, and then he went to the office for 2 or 3 hours. Then he went home. He had a lunch at home with my mother, slept a little nap, and then went to play bridge in the afternoon, and then back home. You know, this is when he was 70, 80, because he worked until he was 85.
Wow, yeah. That sounds like a good
Okay.
lifestyle. Yeah.
You know, and that's what I'm looking for. That's what I want for myself too. I want to work. I want to play golf. I don't play bridge. I'm not so keen on bridge, but you know, that's what I want. So that's it. So so that's what I'm looking for. That's my target. And I think the website for Don Baez will be great because it will give us it will, you know, will give us visibility for people in other countries who appreciate a good product and pay a little more for something which is well done and has been taken care of. And as I buy the wool myself and do everything myself, like you say in the wool world, you know, from sheep to shop. So yeah, that is something which is very powerful. And as we really do it ourselves, well, that's what I'm aiming for.
Mm. Yeah, and I think you can see that what I saw so far, especially on your website, is that everything seems to add up and be in sync with each other because obviously you only work with these gray wools, so the color scheme is very clear, and then all your pictures, all your posts, everything kind of fits together and like yeah is one very straightforward corporate identity and speaks one language. So I think that's quite impressive that you achieved this. And I was wondering if that also just developed over time or was it always really clear in your head?
I think it was always clear, you know. I always had it so clear from the day one. Really, I said I want to do something. I'm very stubborn, you know. People come in and say into the shop. Now having a shop, I've had the shop for 3 years. So when I hear people all the time, and I'm always interested because we have our little office at the back on purpose so that I can hear everyone who comes in and get feedback from everyone. Um, and people come in and say, wouldn't it, you know, I love this. Some people come in and say, this is incredible. This is really made in Uruguay. You know, everyone is so impressed and said, this looks like, I don't know, the Italian brand, Cucinelli, or, you know, people are always saying that. I'm saying, wow, incredible that you should say that, you know. But, okay. But then others say, maybe you could put some color into this. And I said, no, there are other brands that dye. I don't want to do this. I want to just use the wool. I put in a little color using, for instance, what we do sometimes. Occasionally, we embroider with other colors. I like that, to do something. Or we also add some color with some leather. Also, that is nice. I like that, that combination, wool, leather, wool, embroideries. But I want the basic woolen product, Don Baez, to be undyed, just
Yeah,
that.
so you're staying very true to your
Very
your
true. That's
vision.
what I
Yeah.
want it to be. And it's been like that for 20 years, and I want that. I want to keep it like that. And
Mm.
yes, I feel that, it was my father who taught me that these are the most beautiful wool is gray, and make use, and, because people also, even in Uruguay, they don't know there are gray sheep. And people say, what, you don't dye this? No, no,
Yeah.
really. And everyone is very astonished, and no one knows. Yeah, I tell them, yeah, of course. So I'm happy that I can stick to my principles and keep on.
Yeah. And yeah, speaking of what you just said about your customers, do you also feel that there's a good understanding of wool, or do you also need to educate them about wool?
I have to educate people all the time. No. Unfortunately, except for some older people who come in, but most people, or even, people our age, like, 40, 50, 60, no, they don't. They're lost. They don't know much about wool in Uruguay, unfortunately. Everyone goes for the brands, for, cheap, nice, beautiful clothes, which you can buy all over, in all the nice shops. Uruguay, there are many, in the shopping centers, there are lovely shops. But then, when the tourists come into the shop and they say, listen, I've been to the shopping center and there's nothing interesting there, because, it's all the same as anywhere in the world, You have all the bring. And then when they come into the Ambayas, I'm so happy because they say, wow, this is what I was looking for, and I didn't know, So that
Mm.
makes me happy. That makes me so happy, Lisa.
Yeah, I can hear.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
I would also like to talk a little bit about what you do on social media, because I saw that you're quite active on Facebook and Instagram. And tell us a little bit more about the role that social media plays for your brand and also your sales.
Listen, yes, we're quite active. That's true. I don't know how many people who will at the end be our customers. That I don't know, because numbers are numbers, and I have no idea. We advertise, we spend some money, not that much actually, but yes, we do. And I don't know. I use it, but I mean, I don't use it myself personally, because I'm not so fan of all the social media. But yes, as a brand, we're interested. We try. We do our best. I don't know, Lisa. Maybe I'll ask you. Do you think that our the 23,000 followers that we have on Facebook? I have no idea.
Yeah, I think it's quite an impressive number. And I think what I hear you saying is that you have someone in your team who's dedicated to, pushing those platforms. And I think it's important nowadays to have a website that's well functioning, and then also having some social media platforms where you can, engage with the audience. And even if it's tourists who discover you, and then they can also connect with you when they're back home. So I think it's a good
Yeah,
way.
no, sure, we do that, and we have TripAdvisor also, and no, sure, no,
Yeah.
yeah, and as our products are also present in many hotels, because many of the blankets in the nice hotels are Don Baez, so that's also something I'm very happy about, as they have been used for 15 years, and they are still, or 10 years, and they're still beautiful, and
Oh yeah,
so
that
that
speaks
also
for them.
shows.
Yeah.
makes the whole point of, how lovely wool is, and
Yeah.
it's the cheapest thing to buy if you think you're going to wear it for 10 years. But that's something we know, and it's so hard to communicate, right?
Yeah, that's true.
But,
And if you look back, so when you started Don Baez, what were your challenges back then, and what would you say is your biggest challenge today?
well, I suppose it's something that I would love is for everyone to be able to wear wool. It's something that is the challenge, and that's why I started Don Bias. I want everyone to wear wool because it's so great when you're wearing wool, and I think a bit like Don Quixote and Sancho Panza. I feel a bit Don Quixote in this, but going against what everyone is looking for, because people are just looking for other things, obviously, here in Uruguay and all over the world. But that is my challenge, really. What I would love is for everyone to have a Don Baez woolen scarf, for instance,
So,
and yeah, when it's cold, and a cap, Don Baez. I mean, and how great you feel when you wear it, and I mean that's what I'm looking for.
okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
I
my
can
challenge.
I like the that you say you feel like Don Quixote. You say it better than me. We say Don
Yeah,
Quixote.
I feel like Don Quixote, Sancho Panza, really,
Yeah.
because everyone comes in and says, but I can buy something for half price, and I say, I'd love to give it to you, and I do that sometimes, so that you feel the difference between this and so this, that's the reason. That's what why I also started Don Baez and made it so big and so diversified and so many different products. Also, because I want people to be able to find something they like at the right price and start wearing wool and feeling the difference of wearing wool, and it makes all the difference once you've started in the wool world wearing something. Once you've started the miracle of wearing something woolen, makes so much difference.
Yeah.
But I want that, I want that for my people. Really?
And from the journey that you've been on now, is there something that you can recommend, like a learning to other entrepreneurs or designers who also might want to start their business with wool?
I suppose that I don't know, that if you like something, that just do it the way you like it, I suppose, because if it has how can I say, if it looks like you, that something that you love, then you can transform the world. Really, I think that's, as long as it's genuine, it's yours. I think so, and not something that you've seen from someone else. We all copy things, obviously. I mean, not saying we should copy. We look and we are inspired looking at other people, but you have to, think back, just be genuine and think what you like for yourself. I think that's my advice.
So
What you like for yourself.
staying true to yourself. Okay, that's a very
Staying
good.
true. Yeah, I think that's what you should do. And
Yeah. Okay, that's a great
most,
place to
yeah.
stop.
No, Lisa, I was just thinking, because the other thing that I do a lot is I wear everything myself to see what it looks on me and how it wears and how how it feels. I do that all the time, and maybe that's also good advice.
To test your own products.
Yeah, exactly. So you see what other people, when they look at you, what they say, and also how you feel about wearing something, and then you're selling something which has been proven, and that's what I do all the time. And if it's not right for me, I don't sell it. That's something.
Okay, great, Claudia. How can our listeners find out more about your brand Don Baez? Where should they go?
Well, we have a shop in Montevideo in a little neighborhood called in Positos, and more specifically Punta Carretas. It's it's how can I say, it's like a little Punta Carretas is very very nice in Montevideo. It's it's very near the beach, and where there are lots of hotels. And our shop is in Ejauri. That's the name of the street. And otherwise, we also have our website, which is www.donbaez.com, which is changing at the moment. You can still see it, but it'll take about a month, and in a month we'll have it'll be totally different. So I would love people to visit it in a month's time. And so that's it. That's the places where you can buy the Don Baez products.
Great. And I'll make sure I'll list the website and your shop address in the show notes so that people can access it very easily. Well, Claudia, I've really appreciated talking to you. It was very interesting. And I love your passion and enthusiasm for what you do. And I hope that all continues to go well for your brand.
Thanks. I thank you very much. I love talking to you, and let's keep in touch.
Yes.
Because we all have the same in mind, really. Wherever you are, you in Germany or over here in Uruguay, everything helps for the same message, and we're all in the same direction. So we must help each other.
And connect with each other. That's true.
And connect.
Perfect. Well, Thank you so much.
Oh, thanks, Lisa.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
I really enjoyed talking to Claudia today for my 50th podcast episode. Can you believe it that it's already 50 episodes? You can really hear Claudia's wool passion in her voice. If you want to find out more about Don Baez Eco Chic, visit the show notes where you can find all the links that were mentioned in the episode today. Visit elisabethvandelden.com/050. I encourage you to check out the Don Baez website, where you can find the large variety of products such as skirts, dresses, trousers, throws, blankets, and other accessories. And you can see with your own eyes what beautiful products Claudia is making from all those beautiful grey wools. Visit elisabethvandelden.com/050. One quick tip for you today. I have put together a wool calendar 2018 as a free download on my website. The Wool Calendar 2018 is a document that includes all relevant wool dates, fairs and events throughout the year 2018, as far as they are already available. This calendar can help you plan your 2018 and get you prepared for your social media activities as well as your travel well in advance. Download the calendar over at elisabethvandelden.com/wool-industry-calendar-2018. That is indeed a complicated link, so here it is once again. Visit elisabethvandelden.com/wool-industry-calendar-2018. But I will also make it available on the homepage of my website so that it's much easier to find. Thanks for listening. Talk to you next week, and bye for now.